I 100% do not recommend being a teen parent. Obviously, I decided to keep my baby and raise her. So this is the video for you if that's what you've decided to do too. Hey guys, it's Kat. Today I'm going to be talking about teen mom advice. I know I look a little crazy. I usually don't have any makeup on, but I decided that this is kind of how I started my first video, was some glam, and it's getting like chilly out, so I really felt like the red lip needed to come out. That and Mari's with her dad, and I cannot wear lipstick if she's with me because it just gets everywhere. So let's get into this video. I have made a separate pregnancy advice video, and I will link that in the eye wherever that is. And I do intend on making more videos like this. The problem is to give advice to just like teen moms. Like, it just, in general, parenting advice is such a broad thing and everyone parents differently. So this is just going to be in a broad video, I guess, touching on different topics. So the first thing is to focus. Focus on you and your baby. Take care of your health, because this is, I guess, specifically when you're pregnant, but also after, taking care of your guys' health and happiness. That is the number one thing. 2, put things into perspective and let things go. Look at all your relationships, family, friends, maybe your relationship with a father. Look at all of that. If any of them are toxic relationships, that is something that, especially if you're pregnant, you're not going to want to carry into having into the baby's life. Or if you realize that after the fact, that's okay too. It's never too late to cut toxic people out. However, you need to be careful with this because you do not want to burn all of your bridges. When I was pregnant, I was so paranoid about everything and so scared and so not knowing what to do, and I was like ready to just burn all my bridges so that way it was just me and my baby and I could just control everything, which is not realistic because you have to be able to work and like there has to be some sort of financial situation there, so it just was not realistic perspective. So if a relationship has been toxic because of like petty fighting, for an example, before my daughter was in the picture, me and my dad used to fight over petty stuff. We just never saw eye to eye on things, and it became toxic because of that. However, I ended up putting that aside, and so did he, so that way we could be a family with my daughter, and he is a great grandpa. So not like great grandfather, but like he's just a really good grandpa. So you just gotta like let go of a lot of things with it to do what's best for your kid. The next thing is looking at your career path, your financial situation, like I kind of already touched on. You have to think of what schedule, what income, all of that you need for you and your baby. Because there are some jobs that are unrealistic for being a parent. There are some jobs that are, you can do it, but it's just going to be way more difficult, and it may not provide you happiness, even if it's a job you'd want to do, due to what it takes away from you. You just gotta kind of pro and con stuff. Also with relationships, like as far as the father of the baby, if you guys are not on good terms, I mean, obviously everyone has different situations, but if it is a toxic relationship, that is not good for you or your baby. And you either need to learn how to co-parent, or if the other person's not going to be in the picture, whatever that situation is. But it's best to get it figured out as soon as possible. And you also don't know how someone is going to change, if they'll change once a baby is born, because sometimes that's all it takes. But going into a different topic, babies affect everything, and in general, I feel like having a kid just heightens the good and the bad. So that's something to think about. Point is, I would not recommend specifically going into having a baby and like trying to make it work. Forcing to make it work is more what the problem is if it's not going to. Because if you learn how to parent and become dependent on like parenting together, learning how to co-parent is so much harder after you've learned how to parent together. So it's almost easier just to figure out how to co-parent and do things on your own from the start if you see that becoming a thing. Obviously, it's okay to like work on your relationship and fix things if they're fixable. But if you know they're not fixable, it's pointless to waste your time. Also, the bad part of wearing a white shirt and red lipstick is that my teeth look yellow. What the heck? We have well water, so that's part of the problem. Beside the point. 3, prepare, but be realistic. So, like I said, children heighten the good and bad. So expect that pretty much everything in your life is going to do a 180. Everything, like your perspective on everything just changes. Like every decision I make, I think of my daughter and her, like it comes first. And for some people, maybe that doesn't just naturally happen, but it does become a thing with parenting. They just in general affect everything in ways you wouldn't even think of when you don't have a kid or haven't been responsible for a kid. I mean, even babysitting didn't do it any justice as far as the reality of it. All your plans change. Everything changes because kids are permanent. Like, it's a permanent thing. You're stuck with them, not just till they're 18. I mean, technically, but I don't know. A lot of kids don't move out on their 18th birthday. First of all, I don't think it's that easy to find a place to live. Second of all, that just sounds unrealistic unless you graduated early and like, I know that it's a thing, but that's, again, beside the point. Know that it is going to be really hard. You can't fully prepare, but just like be open-minded. Try to not set expectations because things rarely go as planned when it comes to life in general, but parenting, because you don't know. There's like another person involved in this. So you don't know how they're gonna be. And you don't know how other people around you are gonna be. You don't know what's gonna work for you and your kid. Everyone's different. Personally, I feel like social media makes this so much harder because it can be so deceiving. And I was really hard on myself, and I still am really hard on myself about stuff. So just try to be easy on yourself, and like as long as you are doing your best, that is what matters. That you are doing what's best for you and your kid and doing your best at doing what's best. Nobody is perfect. There is no such thing as a perfect parent. There's no such thing as perfect unless it's being perfectly imperfect. I actually just made an Instagram post about this. I will put my Instagram below and here because it's about body positivity too, and it's like all about parenting smacked into one post. Plus, I'm trying to make sure I didn't make the wrong decision by posting those. You'll see if you go to it what I mean. One thing I found really important was creating connections and then using your connections. Like, whether it's figuring out a career path and like talking to other parents, whether it's just like one of my friends had to go to a doctor appointment with me so that way she could watch my daughter because it was a doctor's appointment that she really can't take a baby in with unless it's maybe a newborn that's just gonna sit there. Like my little almost toddler is not gonna just sit there. So God bless her because I don't know what I would have done if she wouldn't have come with me because I had no one else to watch her. It was like a last minute not having someone to watch her situation. It's okay to need help and it's okay to ask for help. I asked for help from some of my family at the beginning, but like in general, but I'm talking about people that you wouldn't typically reach out to. It's okay if like, so like my friends, for an example, I typically don't want to ask them for help because I don't know, it's just like a weird thing. And I recently have had to, and they were like glad to help, and it really showed that they really do care. They're a true friend. Obviously, there's other ways to figure that out than having a baby. You obviously don't want to like take advantage of your connections like in a bad way, but you need to take advantage of it in a way that like use your connections. Don't use them like using the person, but like, I don't know if that makes sense. For me, I've just really tried hard to trust in the plan. Whether you believe that there is a plan or you trust in like the universe, for me, I try to trust in God as much as possible, and just I believe everything happens for a reason, and that sometimes bad things happen for the greater good in our lives, even if we don't understand what that reason is, and we may never know. Lastly, I'll just kind of touch on a little bit of a tip. As far as like prepping for materialistic things, you don't know what's gonna work for you and your baby. So I've seen like these unrealistic, talking about social media again, goals of like completely stocked up on different stuff. Yeah, you don't need that much. Maybe if you got a bunch of the travel sizes, you could test them, but like once you find one that works, then what are you gonna do with them? I guess you could like donate them. But that just sounds like a lot of hassle. I mean, it's good to maybe put money aside for stuff. Like, I've heard people will buy one pack, like, every time they go to the grocery of, like, diapers, so that way they prep, which that I understand. There's just certain stuff you don't want to stock up on. Like, be realistic about it, because you don't know what's going to work for your baby. There's all kinds of stuff I thought I needed for Mari, and I would have been just fine without majority of it. As far as different, like, baby toys and baby gadgets. Your perspective is everything with it. Just trying to be positive. Awkward when your neighbor goes down the road on a tractor and you're sitting in front of a window like a creep. That is the only problem with this filming situation here. Your perspective is so important, because how you look at things, how you handle things, just try to be grateful and look at the positive side of it. That's easier said than done, because being a teen mom is hard. Being an unprepared parent is hard. Being a parent is hard. Being young can be hard, trying to navigate through your life, like getting your life together. Throwing being a parent and that all together, it's hard. And so I 100% do not recommend being a teen parent. I have a video on pregnant teens' thoughts on teen pregnancy and teen moms' thoughts on teen pregnancy, and I recommend checking both of those out, because honestly, do not recommend doing all the precautionary things to prevent that. But if you're already in a situation, like, and have made the decision to stick through with it, whether it's like not giving up your baby for adoption or not doing any other methods with it, I'm not even going to talk about those because I don't know anything about those, because I didn't go through any of that. Obviously, I decided to keep my baby and raise her, so I, again, don't have anything to say on those topics. So this is the video for you if that's what you've decided to do too. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any teen mom advice, comment it below, or in general parenting advice or pregnancy advice, comment it below. Let's start a conversation, because I just was trying to think of like things that just stood out to me the most, because I've been asked multiple times to make this video and I'm like, I just don't know what advice to give. I mean, it just depends on your situation for what advice I give, because all advice is circumstantial and it's just a broad topic to talk about, but this is what I've come up with. So don't forget to subscribe below. I give a little tidbits of advice in pretty much every video, so I recommend watching my videos. I put a lot of time and effort and hard work into it. Blood, sweat, and tears. Not really. Lack of sleep, though. Bye.